They came not to conquer, but to console. Blossoms born of friendship between nations, blooming amid conflict. Each petal whispers a story of diplomacy, resilience, and rebirth. The cherry trees in Washington, D.C. are not just flowers, they are living historians. From ashes of rejection to arcs of pink above the water, they survived. Welcome to timeless America, where beauty meets history, and every story is a journey. Today, we walk beneath the cherry blossoms of Washington, D.C., but more than that, we walk through their past, their meaning, and how they became symbols of diplomacy, survival, and hope. If you have ever found peace in petals, or believed in friendship across oceans, this story is for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us, because every bloom has a backstory you deserve to hear. In the spring of 1912, something extraordinary took root along Washington's Tidal Basin. Not power, not monuments, but a gift from Japan. Over 3,000 cherry trees, delicate and soft, pink and white, their petals falling like snowfall over the water's edge. That gift changed the capital forever. It took years of persistence and quiet diplomacy to make it happen. But once it did, the trees stood as living proof that beauty could outlast politics and war. The idea began decades earlier with an American woman named Eliza Ruhamasa. She was fierce, fearless, and determined to bring Japanese cherry trees to Washington. During her travels in Japan's spring, she fell in love with the flowers and the culture of their fleeting bloom. She wrote about planting cherry trees along the Potomac, but for years she was dismissed. Officials scoffed, citing cost and maintenance. But Sydmour never gave up. She wrote letters, commissioned articles, and waited. Eventually, her cause found an ally in First Lady Helen Herron Taft, who shared Sydmour's love for beauty and diplomacy. In that partnership, the idea grew stronger. It became a real plan. Tokyo's mayor, Yukio Ozaki, approved the gift with care and pride. Flowers would become diplomacy. But when the first shipment arrived in 1910, flaws were discovered, disease and insects threatened American orchards. The entire shipment was burned, a devastating embarrassment for both sides. Yet dignity was preserved through private apology and swift action. Japan did not falter. Some even paused. Would they withdraw the offer? They chose generously to try again. In 1912, the second, carefully quarantined batch arrived safely. On a sunny March morning, March 27th, Helen Taft and Viscountess Chinda, representing Japan, planted the first 2 trees at the Tidal Basin's edge. No fanfare, no press, just 2 women planting a symbol. From those first seedlings sprang an annual dawn festival, drawings and press images, poems about petals in the wind. But more than publicity, the trees became a quiet monument. Every spring, visitors would pause beneath their bloom, marveling that a gift from halfway around the world could bring peace to the Potomac. Yet beneath the pink and white, tensions gathered. By 1941, war's shadow loomed large. Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor ignited fury across America, turning symbols into targets. Cherry trees were vandalized. People yelled at caretakers. Some were cut down. Citizens demanded the trees be renamed Oriental cherries. The city renamed the festival to distance itself from the enemy. But the trees remained, stubborn and steadfast, never removed, despite public anger. Their roots ran deeper than headlines. After the war, whispers of reconciliation began. Japan sent new cherry trees in gratitude for American veterans. Those planted in the 1950s and 1960s around the Japanese embassy and along the Tidal Basin. In each case, the ceremonial planting was marked not by rulers, but by ordinary citizens or former soldiers, people who had once fought but now wanted peace. Slowly, the blossoms came to symbolize not betrayal or war, but forgiveness and rebuilding. By the 1970s and 1980s, the Cherry Blossom Festival had grown. It included parades, cultural exhibitions, food fairs, and diplomatic receptions. But the heart remained in those trees and their brief bloom. TV cameras flocked, tourists arrived from every state, locals picnicked beneath their canopy, photographers set up tripods. Love stories unfolded underneath as petals drifted. Politics faded behind their petals, replaced by, over time, the trees matured. Some planted by Mayor Ozaki's gift began to show signs of age. Others succumbed to storms, disease, lightning. In 1999, as many originals teetered, Washington sent cuttings back to Japan to preserve the lineage in Tokyo's Arakawa River Grove. That gesture mirrored the original reciprocal exchange. It closed a circle that began with one nation's offering and ended in shared preservation, but climate change soon challenged that legacy. Warmer winters caused earlier blossoms or late frosts killed blossoms overnight. In the 2020s, cherry tree experts noticed inconsistent blooming patterns. Sometimes flowers appeared before winter fully ended or they were scorched by late frosts. Washington horticultural societies began to crossbreed hardier rootstock. They monitored bloom timing with satellites and software. Every year, volunteers map blooms using smartphone apps. Children from local schools release petals into the Tidal Basin in remembrance of those who moved international relations forward with silence and petals. In 2025, the United States launched a diplomatic initiative called the Gold Card Cultural Ambassadors Program, which features global stories of reconciliation and beauty. Cherry trees from D.C. became star symbols. Virtual videos showed petals trailing across screens at festivals in Tokyo, Berlin, and Nairobi. The cherry blossom became not just physical trees, but symbols that travel beyond seasons, becoming art installations in city plazas, virtual reality experiences in museum exhibits. Despite the festival's popularity, not everyone always loved the symbol. In the 1970s, some critics called it overhyped. They argued that the trees distract from central Washington as deeper history of struggles and statues and civil rights movements. Others said the cherry blossoms commercialized national monuments too much. In response, festival organizers introduced community service projects, scholarships, youth arts programs that tied blossoms to civic beauty rather than tourist dollars. They planted cherry trees in low-income communities in D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia, showing that beauty could be accessible, not privileged. Today, the blossom season still peaks around mid-April. The National Park Service estimates 2 million visitors during festival week. Families venture out at dawn. The sunrise reflects off the petals. Bloggers share time-lapsing flower maps online. Instagram feeds drip with pale pink filters. But the true power remains under the surface. The deep symbolism laced into every blossom. Every time a tree is planted, ribbon ceremonies stem from diplomatic or local contributions. A street in Northwest D.C. has a memorial to the original 1912 trees. Children place stones with messages in a reflection pool. A paragraph etched beneath a plaque reads, "These blossoms remind us that peace blooms when we plant it." Visitors pause, take photographs, wonder at history under petal-draped branches. Some cry at the meaning. Others vow to return with children someday. And so the cherry trees of Washington, D.C. survive not because they are easy to maintain, but because we choose to preserve their legacy. We choose recall over erase. We choose beauty over bitterness. So when you walk beneath those blooms this spring, remember, they came not by chance, but by choice. Generosity across oceans, diplomacy over destruction, hope in petals that fall like time, gentle but unstoppable. If you found this journey moving, like this video, subscribe to Timeless America, and share it with someone who believes beauty can heal. Because these trees remind us, history blooms again. Always.